It's almost 10 years since Debra Jeter placed that infamous chilling 911 call, where she calmly informs the operator, "I just killed my children." The tragedy, on June 5th of 2009, left 12-year-old Kelsey dead and 13-year-old Kierstan fighting for her life. How was the tragedy allowed to happen, and could more have been done to protect the two girls? I'll play the call in full for you now.
Hill County 911, what's your emergency?
I just killed my children.
Excuse me?
I just killed my children.
Where are you?
I'm in the abandoned house on Highway 77 right after you go underneath the highway. One of them's still alive. Hurry.
How? Under what highway? You're on Highway 77 where?
I'm on Highway 77 right after you go under 35 going towards Milford. Get an ambulance out here to save the one that didn't die. Come on. Hurry up.
What's your name?
Bitch, call them. Have you already called them?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay.
I need your name.
I don't want to tell you my name.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Toward Milford, right after you cross under the bridge. She's telling me she's killed her children. Are you in your car?
No, I'm not in my car. I'm in the house walking around. And one of them's still alive for real. She's asking to be saved, and I couldn't handle that. And so now
she's in an abandoned house.
It's been a long time. She might already die because she's bled out a lot. And hold on. What, baby?
77 minutes, right?
Be still. What did you say? I want to talk to more. She said, please tell you to hurry.
Okay. Well, we've got people en route. Get an ambulance because one of them's still alive, she said. Can you tell me what happened? Ma'am? Hello? Ma'am? Can you tell me what happened?
I can't get the door open.
You can't get what door open, darling?
The front door, so y'all can come in when y'all get here. Why won't it open?
I don't know.
Hold on.
Are you on the right-hand side of the road or the left-hand side of the road, sweetie?
I'm at Father Strickler's house. It's going to be a cool thing. No, where it's at.
Okay, they're coming. They're coming. I would just want to try to clarify exactly where they are. Can you tell me what happened?
I don't want to say. I don't see any lights. They're not coming.
Well, they're on their way. My partner's getting them to you just as quickly as she can.
Okay.
How many? How many children do you have? Huh?
Two.
Two?
One is dead. One of them is dead. She's dead. But the other one, she wants to be saved, and she needs to be saved, and I don't see any lights. Tell them to get the fuck out here.
Honey, they're coming. They're coming. Do you have any weapons?
I do. I have a knife.
She has a knife.
Should I throw it away?
No, ma'am. Just put it in. She's got a knife.
She says hurry.
Okay. Tell her we're on our way. She won't give me. Can you not tell me what your name is?
Well,
Huh?
hold on.
What's your name, darling?
I'm not telling you my name. I lost your darling.
How old are your children?
Hold on. You see that? Okay, they're coming. But Janet, hurry up.
Honey, they are coming. They're on their way. You should be hearing lights and sirens. Seeing lights and hearing sirens.
Going on, I'm going to be with you if everything went after this.
You said you crossed under the bridge that goes on 77 toward Milford. You crossed under the bridge to 35, and you're in an abandoned house.
6125 or so.
Is that right?
Yes, under 35.
Crossed under 35.
On 77, the abandoned house up on the hill on the left. Where'd you fuck up?
106, that's all being routed from Rubber's Bend.
She says she's in the...
6125.
She's in the abandoned house? Yes. It's in the house on the hill.
Listen. Hold on, buddy.
Sweetie, do you hear them now? Do you hear those sirens and stuff?
What did she advise happened?
She's...
But
Hello?
I'm here. They're not here.
They're on their way, sweetheart. They had to come from different parts of the county.
Hold on, kid. They're coming. Tell them not to shoot me. I don't have a gun.
Okay. She doesn't want to get shot because she doesn't have a gun.
We told her she had a knife, so just when they get there, tell them.
Okay. When they get there, I want you to lay the knife down out. When you get the door open, I want you to lay the knife down so they can see that you don't have any weapons.
Okay.
They're hurrying, honey. They're hurrying. Okay.
I believe to the right, if you're coming northbound, I'm trying to find the house.
Oh my God, she's dead. Oh my God.
How old are the children?
I won't tell you. She wants you to hurry.
Honey, they are coming. They're coming as fast as they can. They're trying to be sure. Do you see them?
They're coming.
Do you see them? Do you see them?
No, I told her they were coming. Hold on.
Yeah, the one dog face back off in the tree.
Can you see the lights?
No, I see something down at the end of the road. I see car lights, but not fire lights, not police lights.
She says
At the end of the driveway.
she says they're at, she
I
can
hear
see.
sirens. I hear them.
Okay. Do you see them?
No, I don't see them. But I hear them.
Okay, you
There's
need to.
people coming up the driveway.
I know, I understand that. I want.
Driveway with my hands up.
She stayed.
By the house, both hands up, except for one, because I'm on the phone. They're coming.
She's got her hands up except for the fact that the one that she's on the phone with. So she's out in the yard. She says she's out in the yard beside the house.
Okay, goodbye. I see them. They're right here. Goodbye.
All right, bye.
In May of 2009, 33-year-old Debra Jeter was devastated over the recent separation from her husband Lee Jeter. Lee had begun divorce proceedings, and a distraught Debra was embroiled in an acrimonious child custody battle over their two young daughters, 13-year-old Kierstan and 12-year-old Kelsey. Unable to face the thought of losing both her husband and her children, Just a little over a week after Mother's Day, on May 21st of 2009, Debra attempted suicide whilst at home with her 2 young daughters. This was the first major warning sign that Debra was not coping, and Lee was sufficiently concerned that he filed a restraining order against Debra, expressing his fears that she may harm their children. Less than 3 weeks after her suicide attempt, and just 1 day after the restraining order had ended, was it appropriate for the courts to place 2 vulnerable young girls in the charge of a mentally unstable woman who had recently been considered a risk to them? Did the courts fail in their duty to safeguard and protect these children? By the end of the visit, they sanctioned one would be dead and the other would be clinging to life. Promising her daughters a surprise, Debra lured them into an abandoned farmhouse just off Interstate 35. Little knowing the dark, twisted intentions of their mother, the girls willingly followed her into the house. Once safely inside the building, Debra took out a knife, the surprise that she'd had in store for her children. Debra attacked 13-year-old Kierstan first. Kierstan bravely shouted for her sister to run. Debra then left Kierstan and pursued Kelsey. Kierstan attempted to protect her sister and was stabbed in the back. Debra then continued to slash at Kelsey's throat, fatally wounding her. Debra then returned to the terrified, desperately injured Kierstan and deliberately slashed her throat. What happened in the abandoned farmhouse in the moments following the attack is unimaginable. Kelsey is lying deceased in the bathroom, whilst Kierstan is grievously injured and bleeding copiously in the bedroom. Despite their horrific injuries, Kierstan is still conscious and must have been pleading with her mother to get help. Despite her best efforts to murder her children and against all odds, Kierstan is still alive and able to beg for help. Perhaps unprepared for this eventuality, Debra places a chilling 911 call. In a calm and collected tone, Debra informs the 911 operator, "I just killed my kids." Unable to believe the things she is hearing, the 911 operator listens as Debra reports, "One of them is dead. She's dead. The other one, she wants to be saved." The call is chilling, and Debra never refers to her children by name, and at one point calls the operator a bitch. Upon arrival, the police found Kelsey deceased in the bathroom, and Kierstan clinging to life in the bedroom. Kierstanjeter was flown to hospital in critical condition and immediately entered surgery. Speaking to CNN host Nancy Grace, Lee Jeter spoke about Kierstan's injuries. She was cut from one side of her neck all the way to the other, and her airway was cut, and one of her main arteries was cut. Despite these devastating injuries, Kierstan somehow survived her mum's attempt to kill her. Charged with capital murder and attempted capital murder, Debra faced the possibility of the death penalty. A plea deal was proposed. If Debra pled guilty, she would receive life without parole, avoiding the death penalty and preventing the need for Kierstan to testify. Thankfully, Debra took the plea deal and was duly sentenced to life without parole. Before being transferred to a prison unit in Gatesville, Debra met with her estranged husband and surviving daughter. She reportedly said that she still hated him, but apologised for what had happened. Lee Jeter later stated that his daughter and her mother shared some light-hearted moments in which they talked and laughed, but this will only ever happen now through the safety of prison walls. The death of a child at the hand of its mother is a devastating tragedy, and one that in this instance could have been prevented. There had been sufficient concerns about Debra and her potential to harm the children that a temporary restraining order had been granted. Why then was she permitted unsupervised visitation after it expired? Why was Debra not detained in a mental health facility after her suicide attempt? There are so many points at which an intervention could have broken the chain of events. The courts have a duty to protect children, and in this case, they failed with devastating consequences.